everyone, and welcome back to Excuse Me What?
The podcast.
Welcome, quarantine edition.
I'm Jillian.
I'm Jillian.
And I'm Mia. And this is the second time we are, in quotes, recording this episode.
Okay, so if you are a Patreon member, you already heard my spiel about this, okay? You already heard it. Sorry. If you're not a Patreon member, you should join, because then you would have heard that little audio snippet I posted last week about why this is the second time we're recording this. Long story short, I forgot to hit the record button. I'm not going to get into the reasons like why or anything, but like I forgot to hit the record button. And we made it all the way to the end of the episode, and I was like going to hit stop, and the stop was not there, and I went, oh my God, we didn't record this. And I looked at Mia immediately, and I was like, I'm not doing this again today. I'm just going to post an old Patreon. I'm not doing it. Like, it was probably 5 seconds between me discovering the pause button or the stop wasn't there and me going like, I'm not doing it again today. No.
The best part was, though, I was like, yeah, like we did it. And Julie, like, we're kind of like doing our chat before we go, and I just hear her go, and then she's just looking at me. I didn't record.
Yeah. So we're gonna this is not new information for Mia.
Nope, it's not.
But actually, I think because we waited a week to do it, it's gonna sound better than if we would have immediately re-recorded it.
Yeah, because if we had immediately recorded it, I think Jillian would have been less enthusiastic.
Well, and I think I would have said the same jokes. And now I don't even remember what those jokes were. So there we go.
And nor do I. That is how my memory is.
Yep. So what this episode is all about some little known cryptids throughout the United States. And before we jump into it, make sure you're following us on Instagram at Excuse Me What Podcast. You can also follow us on TikTok. Because that's a thing. Trying to strike that algorithm while it's hot.
Yeah, and you know what? Jillian's first post on TikTok is in regards to this mishap. So there you go. We've come full circle, and you can be part of it.
Yep. And you can check out our Patreon. It's $5 a month. That gets you early access to these episodes, sometimes little audio snippets of shit that's going on, and access to a new exclusive episode every single week. Here we go. So the first cryptid I would like to talk about today, everyone, is called Frogman. And this is out of Loveland, Ohio. Okay. And this one is, I think, my favorite one. So
I think it's funny too.
I like to think of this as charming, not scary.
Hello, my darling. Hello, my baby. Hello, my girl.
Exactly. Yep. So in Ohio folklore, the Loveland frog, also known as the Loveland frogman or Loveland lizard, is a legendary humanoid frog described as standing roughly 4 feet tall, allegedly spotted in Loveland, Ohio. In 1972, the Loveland frog legend gained renewed attention when a Loveland police officer reported to a colleague that he had seen an animal consistent with descriptions of the frogman. After a purported sighting in 2016, the second officer called a news station to report that he had shot and killed the same creature some weeks after the 1972 incident and had identified it as a large iguana that was missing its tail. In May 2014, the Loveland frog legend was made into a musical titled Hot Damn, It's the Loveland Frog, which I want to see.
Want to show you this.
According to various legends, the creature was first sighted in 1955, with some versions of the story specifying the month of May. There are 3 different versions of that story that only differ slightly from each other. The 3 stories that start the same way, with a businessman or a traveling salesman driving along an unnamed road late at night. The stories start to diverge at this point. In one story, the driver was heading out of the Branch Hill neighborhood when he spotted 3 figures stood erect on their hind legs along the side of the road, each 3 to 4 feet tall and with leathery skin and frog faces. In the other 2 versions of the story, the creatures were spotted under a poorly lit bridge. There are a number of bridges in Loveland going over the Little Miami River. The story tells of the businessman watching the 3 converse for a while until one of those creatures held a wand over its head and fired spray of sparks, startling the observer into fleeing the scene. On March 3rd, 1972, at 1 a.m., Loveland police officer Ray Shockey was driving on Riverside Drive near Totes Boot Factory and the Little Miami River when an unidentified animal scurried across the road in front of his vehicle. The animal was fully illuminated in the vehicle's headlights, and he described it as 3 to 4 feet long, about 50 to 75 pounds, with leathery skin. He reported spotting the animal crouched like a frog before it momentarily stood erect to climb over the guardrail and back down towards the river, which that was the image I kept seeing when looking this one up, and it's a funny looking image to me.
It's like you caught this frog in the middle of doing something dirty.
It really like he robbed a bank or something and is climbing over the guardrail.
Yeah.
2 weeks after the incident. Yeah. 2 weeks after the incident, a second Loveland police officer, Mark Matthews, reported seeing an unidentified animal crouching along the road in the same vicinity as Shockey's sighting. Matthews shot the animal, recovered the body, and put it in the trunk to show Officer Shockey. According to Matthews, it was a large iguana about 3 or 3.5 feet long, and he didn't immediately recognize it because it's missing its tail. Matthews speculated it was an iguana that had been someone's pet that either got loose or was released when it grew too big. According to Matthews,
what if this is just like that big fucking Tiger King when they talk about that psychopath that let all those zoo animals like loose? Yeah. It's the same thing, but it's just a farm of iguanas.
Exactly. Yes. That's exactly what it is. Farm of iguanas jumping over guardrails.
Set loose on this poor community.
Oh my god. According to Matthews, Shockey was shown the dead iguana and confirmed it was the animal he had seen 2 weeks previously. Matthews recounted the incident to an author of a book about urban legends, but says the author omitted the part that confirmed the creature was an iguana rather than a frogman. Yeah. So I like the idea of those being like those tap dancing frogs. That's what I like, with little top hats and bows.
Yeah, little tuxes on.
Under the streetlight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the next story, okay? This is Bat Squatch in Mount St. Helens, Washington.
Ever.
Huh? What?
It said best cryptid name ever, Bat Squatch.
Yeah, I like it. It's like they're like, it's Bigfoot with wings. So Bat Squatch.
Oh, which would be horrifying.
Yeah, I don't like it. This thing's fucking big. Remember? It's pretty big.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah. So this creature was said to have yellow eyes, a wolf-like muzzle, blue fur, sharp teeth, bird-like feet, and leathery bat wings that could span up to 50 feet.
Jesus Christ.
That's very large.
Yeah. Because what, a falcon, it's like 6 feet, which you're like, that's large. Terrifyingly huge wingspan. But 50 feet, I feel like someone's exaggerating.
Well, aren't those like those California vultures or whatever? I can't even remember what they're called. But they're like a specific vulture known to Southern California. And they have like a wingspan of like 12 feet or something. Is it the condor? Is it the condor? Is that what I'm thinking of?
I will take a look. Carry on.
Okay. The creature, okay. In addition, Bat Squatch is said to be 9 feet tall and has the ability to affect car engines, which is very specific. This is possibly a What?
The wingspan of a California condor is 10 feet.
Yeah, it's very large.
It's scary.
That's what it Scary. This is probably a misunderstood sighting of Mothman, considering it also affected man-made things like mothing. Okay, here's a question. So they're like, it's Bat Squatch or is Bat Squatch Mothman? There's no other explanation.
Yeah. They're just like, maybe.
Yeah, hard to tell.
I bet it is Mothman.
It could. Well, Mothman, though, I didn't think left the east, like West Virginia.
Well, yeah, and the description's a little bit different.
Yeah, I also don't think Mothman's wingspan was as big.
No.
I don't know. We did a whole episode on Mothman if you're curious.
It was funny.
Bat Squatch is roughly 8 to 9 feet tall with clawed feet and hands, which, and hands. Gross. Which are likely used for gripping prey as well as caved walls, as well as stabbing its own hand when he does a fist.
He goes, excuse me, Karen. No.
And then they go like, I'm bleeding. Ow. I don't like that.
That's right, Karen. I am bleeding. That's how angry I am right now.
Its head is a fusion of a bat and human, and its large bat-like membranous wings extended from its back. The Bat Squatch has gray, blue, or black fur with pink skin. Gross. In April 1994, Brian Canfield was driving in Washington's Pierce County when his truck suddenly died. Canfield said a large creature landed in front of him. He said it was human-like, 9 feet tall with bat-like wings, and also sported a coat of blue fur. Ever since then, it has not been seen, and skeptics dismiss it as a hoax. A possible second sighting was reported in 2009 near Mount Shasta in California. Several hikers witnessed a huge creature with leathery wings spanning 50 feet fly out of a crevice in a mountain. At first, an eyewitness described the creature as having a head similar to a pterodactyl. However, upon reconsideration, the witness claimed it was more akin to a bat or a fox. On June, why do they keep saying on June? It's in June 2011, Phoenix Tiras was in his yard walking his dog. He went to pick up the dog when he saw something in the sky. He said the following, quote, "I saw something flying in the sky. It had bat wings, blue fur, and it had a face similar to, had a face similar to eyes glowing red."
What?
Yeah, that's the quote. It was about 9 feet tall at the least, and after who wrote this? Who wrote this down? I'm gonna try to read it verbatim. Hold on, because it's a quote. I saw something flying the sky. It had bat wings, blue fur, and had a face similar to eyes glowing red. It was about 9 feet tall at the least. After I watched it, just flew away. What?
Do
we know what happened?
I have no response for that.
On April 14, 2014, at Archbishop Hoban High School in Akron, Ohio, a second period Spanish class spotted a giant black mass zip by the window of a classroom at incredible speed. The class claims it was about 9 feet tall with a 20 to 30 foot wingspan. Yeah, I don't know what to make of that one. I don't want to see it, though. It scares me.
I don't want it either.
Hard pass. I always remembered there was this story, I think it was in Mothman, where this person was like in their yard and then they like saw it in the trees, and so they crouched down and it was like hovering over them, and I was like, get me the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I remember that one. I don't like that.
All right, the next creature is the Bear Lake Monster in Idaho. So, not all descriptions of the Bear Lake Monster agree, but one team of folklorists stated that it is reported to resemble a serpent, but with legs about 18 inches long, on which it marauds along the shoreline. One article reported that the creature had a large undulating body with about 30 feet of exposed surface of a light cream color moving swiftly through the water at a distance of 3 miles from the point of observance. The cream skin is what gets me.
I don't like it.
I don't want to. I just picture like I'm looking at this big lake, right? And I see this cream colored dinosaur. Blah. Gross.
Like, it's like looking at a bear that's been like shaved or something.
Ew.
It's not good.
No. Evolution has done you wrong. Others reported seeing a monster-like animal which went faster than a locomotive and had a head variously described as being similar to that of a cow, otter, crocodile, or walrus minus the tusks. Its size was reported to be at least 50 feet long and certainly not less than 40. Some sightings even spoke of a second member of the species and smaller monsters as well. An 1868 article in the Desert News announced that, quote, the Indians have a tradition concerning a strange serpent-like creature inhabiting the waters of Bear Lake. Now it seems this water devil, as the Indians called it, has again made an appearance. A number of our white settlers declare they have seen it with their own eyes. This bear-like monster, they now call it, is causing a great deal of excitement up here, end quote. And then the author, Joseph C. Rich, went on to relate several sightings of the creature in recent times. The article created a stir in Salt Lake City, and within a month, quote, a new staff member quizzed many Bear Lake people and found hardly a person who doubted it, end quote. LDS church leaders took an interest in the monster when they visited the area on preaching tours, took the opportunity to speak firsthand with residents of the region. They stated that they had conversation with Brother Charles C. Rich and other brethren from Bear Lake Valley respecting the monster which have been seen in the lake, and found they declared that the testimony they had been given by so many individuals who have seen these creatures in so many places and under a variety of circumstances that they considered the story to be indisputable. The Desert News continued to publish articles about the monster, skeptically at times and defensively at others, while other local newspapers turned on to attack the stories of the water devil. The Salt Lake Tribune even went as far as to quip that the monster was, quote, the twin brother to the devil and cousin of Brigham Young. Shady. Articles about the Bear Lake monster continued to appear over the next several years, either reciting new sightings of the Bear Lake monster as well as similar creatures in other rivers and lakes in the Utah Territory, or calling the sightings into question. The number of alleged appearances of the lake monsters all across northern Utah caused some people to speculate that there was an underground channel connecting the Great Salt Lake and other waterways to Bear Lake. Interest was high enough that even the LDS church decided to investigate. Young wasn't the only person interested in capturing the creature. One local resident proposed using a large baited hook attached to a 20-foot cable and 300 yards of 1-inch rope, at the end of which was to be a large buoy with a flag staff inserted and an anchor to keep it in perpendicular positions. From the buoy, 100 yards of 3/4-inch rope was to be extended to a tree on shore. When captured, it was hoped that the monster could be exploited for its wondrous proportions in the show business in competition with the famous P.T. Barnum. Interest eventually died down in the subject, and the phenomenon faded from public memory. 26 years following his articles and allegations, Joseph C. Rich finally admitted that it had all been a wondrous first-class lie. Sighting of the Bear Lake monster continued even after Rich admitted that he fabricated the original sightings as a hoax. A 1907 letter published in a Logan, Utah newspaper claimed that 2 men had seen the Bear Lake behemoth attack their camp and kill one of their horses. A 4-year-old claimed to have seen it in 1937, and a Boy Scout troop spoke of seeing it in 1946. The last reported sighting of the monster was in June 2002 when Bear Lake business owner Brian Hershey claims to have seen the monster. The monster has become part of local folklore, partly due to sporadic sightings and partly in jest. For years, a Bear Lake monster boat, a tourist boat shaped to look like a Green Lake monster, offered a 45-minute scenic cruise of Bear Lake with folklore storytelling. Another self-parody that locals have done is to fill a float in the Garden City, Utah Raspberry Days Parade with local children and label it the real Bear Lake Monsters. On another occasion, during the 1996 Raspberry Days, a competition was organized in Garden City to have local school children name the Leviathan. The judges decided with the name Isabella, which had been submitted by an 8-year-old girl. I like that one too. Like, I kind of want to visit them.
I know. I would go on that 45-minute scenic boat ride and listen to folklore. I would love that.
Yeah, that one seems like fun to me.
Yeah.
All right, this one is a good one. This is the Lake Worth Monster, which is in Fort Worth, Texas.
We
love Texas. Hello. In Texan folklore, the Lake Worth Monster is a legendary creature said to inhabit Lake Worth at Fort Worth Nature Center and Refuge just outside of Fort Worth, Texas. The creature is often described as part man, part goat, with scales and long clawed fingers. Part man, part goat seems really unfortunate.
Seems really upsetting.
Yeah. Reports of sightings of by local citizens of a half man, half goat with fur and scales in July 1969 led to the belief that a mysterious creature lived at Lake Worth. Newspapers reported the alleged sightings, including one in which the monster landed on a man's car after jumping out of a tree, and another in which it threw an automobile tire at a group of people. It's just like, you're keeping me up. Get out of here. It's my lawn.
Jillian, if y'all don't get out of here, I'm going to bust you on the head. You're trespassing.
Oh my God. This thing's just an ornery old man.
Yeah. He's just a boomer.
He's just a boomer.
I'm just kidding. Oh, this all goes funny because it goes back to my Bunny Man episode.
It does. Newspapers also published a photograph reportedly taken of the creature by Alan Plaster, and locals began driving out to the lake at night to get a look at it. Remember that picture, that supposed picture was like a puff of smoke?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not a thing. Where's the creature?
No. Literally, it's fog.
Google it, you guys. It's fog. It's the mist. You could convince me that it's the mist off that picture, but nothing else.
You can convince me that someone outside of the frame was smoking a cigarette, but nothing else.
You can convince me that you were at a bonfire, but nothing else.
You can convince me that somebody just drove off in the car, the smoke is the exhaust of their car, but nothing else.
Oh my God, yeah. Local police investigated the claims but found no evidence of the monster in Lake Worth and Greer Island area. According to one reporter, the Goat Man legend was spread via summer camp stories where camp counselors told children to listen carefully and you'll hear us cry on clear nights like tonight. In a later interview, Alan Plaster commented on the photo described as a man-sized white fur ball that he took while driving past the Nature Center in 1969. Plaster characterized the sighting as a prank, saying whatever it was, it wanted to be seen. Since reports of the monster ceased when school resumed, many suspected the incidents were pranks carried out by high school students. In 2005, a reporter at the Fort Worth Star-Telegram received an anonymous letter from someone claiming to be one of the 3 school classmates who, in the summer of 1969, decided to go out to Lake Worth and scare people using a tinfoil mask. It's like those old Halloween photos where it's like kids dressing up for Halloween and it's just like a sack on their head and you're like, these are sinister. Like these aren't even like, these are just creepy.
Like, honest to God, if like a group of kids knock on the door and that's what I open the door to, I'd be like, well, this is my den. Like, this is the start of a horror movie.
No. And you know that's like in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Gross.
No thanks.
In 2009, Fort Worth, Texas Magazine published a report about an unidentified man who said that he had been the perpetrator of the tire throwing incident. Cryptozoologists.
Like, I'm gonna throw it off a cliff.
What was that?
That's for fun. He said, "Do you think he found the tire?" And was like, "I just want to throw it off a cliff for fun."
He just like hurled it and he went, "Oh shit, that got by that car."
People don't.
Cryptozoologist/blogger Craig Woolheater said he believes the Lake Worth monster is an undiscovered, uncatalogued primate species that walks on two legs. Thank you for your hot take. A few couples that had seen the Lake Worth monster were the first to do so, and soon on it became a phenomenon. Reporter Jim Mars followed up on the story and wrote an article which made front page news with the headline, "Fishy Man Goat Terrifies Couples Parked at Lake Worth." The couples described it as a goat and man-like with fur and scales. John Reichardt's car was supposedly damaged by the Lake Worth monster after it jumped out of a tree. As proof, he had a 1.5 foot long scar on it. The police finally decided to investigate, yet yielded no results. Only one day after Reichardt's incident, reports came in of a creature hurling a tire from a bluff at bystanders. In October of 1969, a man named, we talked about that. The creature hurling a tire was found out to be a man. Vincent, as he was called, admitted in 2009 that he was involved with the tire throwing. He claims that he was rolling a tire along with some friends, then hit a bump and went into the air, eventually landing very close to bystanders. KDFW, a Fox-owned television station in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, did a lengthy report in November of 1999 about the Lake Worth monster. It interviewed some of those who saw it, such as reporter Jim Mars and Sally Ann Clark. The report announced that some high school students admitted to the police that they had pranked people by dressing up in a gorilla suit and parading around the lake in 1969. Amazing. And yeah, that's all I got this week.
You did it, Jillian.
We recorded it. Yay!
Yeah.
So hopefully you guys enjoyed that episode, and we will see you next week. Goodbye. You don't want to say bye? Okay.